Have you guys heard about the new recent Ezra Miller accusations? Oh my gosh, every time I read a headline about this actor, it just somehow keeps getting worse. Now, if you didn't know, a week or two ago, I made a video about Ezra Miller, and pretty much what had happened was he was given a court order to get away from this 12-year-old, which is now, I believe, 18, and he gave drugs to her while she was like a 12-year-old, and so the parents finally, got their heads out of their butt and placed a protection order against him. I'm taking a look at my analytics, and only like 2% of the people watching this video right now are actually subscribed to the channel. Consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. And so after that happened, the reason the whole video was made was because Ezra Miller and the girl, which was 18 at the time, apparently were either on the run or Ezra Miller possibly kidnapped them and they were looking for him in multiple states. And this is after, keep in mind, he's assaulted a bunch of people in Hawaii, which is just what a crazy timeline. I mean, he's moving so fast through his criminal career. You could have thought he was the Flash in real life. I mean, what are the chances that a person who plays a superhero would actually turn out to be like a major villain? Like, this is Ezra Miller's villain origin story. If you thought that was the worst of it, more has come out. So it came out recently that Ezra Miller has been accused of housing children in a farm with guns and weed. It's like, oh my gosh, what is happening, Ezra? What are you doing, bro? You need to take a step back. I mean, assaulting people in Hawaii, bad. Giving drugs to a minor, oh my. And now apparently kidnapping a child, oh geez. And now you thought that could top it? No. Apparently he's holding guns and marijuana with children in his house. There's a recent accusation that the actor Ezra Miller has been accused of housing young children in unsafe conditions, according to a new news report. The Rolling Stones, which has an iffy history, so I suppose you can take this with a grain of salt. However, I think it's very likely that this news report is real, considering all the other things he's done, fortunately. So the Rolling Stones magazine alleges that Ezra Miller, who is non-binary and uses they/them pronouns. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. Most of the time, I have no problem with respecting pronouns or whatever, especially if I'm talking about a news story. But they kidnapped the child. They kept 3 children in a house with a bunch of unkept guns. I mean, it's kind of hard to respect Ezra Miller's pronouns while he's done all these crazy criminal things. So if I mix up with that, my bad. So apparently Ezra Miller has been hosting a 25-year-old mother with her 3 young children at the actor's 39-hectare or 96-acre Vermont farm. The arrangement apparently is one of concern to the child's father, as well as others with knowledge of the situation believe it is unsafe. And of course it's unsafe. Just wait for these details. Rolling Stone sources say that they have reported unattended guns lying around the home, with one recalling an incident in which a 1-year-old child allegedly picked up a bullet and put it in her mouth. Oh my god. What the hell, Ezra Miller? This is insane. I mean, this is super... I mean, it's hard not to understand where, Ezra Miller is going wrong. Obviously, he does a bunch of drugs and that kind of thing, and so he's obviously not thinking too much about the safety of the 3 children. I mean, a 1-year-old apparently put a bullet in her mouth. I mean, this is not a normal, healthy, or safe living environment for, this 25-year-old woman and her 3 child. So video footage seen by Rolling Stone apparently shows at least 8 assault weapons, rifles, and handguns lying around the room, with some weapons propped up next to a pile of stuffed animals. Oh my gosh. I mean, and that's a thing. I don't know if... in some states this is illegal behavior. You need to keep your gun locked up in your room and in safe condition, and just leaving them lying around, especially propped up next to a pile of stuffed animals, especially when obviously children, especially young children, like stuffed animals, so they might go near the weapons. I mean, the 1-year-old put a bullet in her mouth, keep in mind, so this is just insane behavior. And Ezra Miller, just shake your head. I mean, the dude obviously needs help. And, they should just turn themselves in, honestly. So the magazine sources also allege frequent and heavy marijuana use in front of the children with little to no concern about proper ventilation. Miller is said to run a cannabis farm on the property. Yeah, so this woman, unfortunately was so desperate that she went to Ezra Miller, to keep her kids safe. And what's happening within like a few couple months of them being there? I mean, you took your kids onto a weed farm with like a dozen weapons that are just lying around. Are you surprised that your kid? I'm surprised none of the kids have honestly got seriously hurt, to be honest. Ezra Miller is smoking in front of these kids, and they're eating bullets, so, I'm shocked none of them have had any problems. Hopefully they get out of the way. However, the mother of the child claims Miller helped my family have a safe environment for my 3 very young children, apart from her violent and abusive husband. Well, honey, I'm sorry to say, but it sure as hell doesn't sound like you moved up the chain any part. I don't know. Ezra Miller helped my family have a safe environment. That's a bit of a stretch. Your 1-year-old is inhaling weed smoke and chewing on bullets. That doesn't seem like a safe environment to me, but I mean, I guess away from a violent and abusive ex, it's better, I suppose, but not by much. She needs to go to like a human resource or social something, because this is it's an unsafe environment, and it's a matter of time before something bad happens to those poor kids. Ezra's home ranch has been a healing haven for us, she says. They may have firearms for self-defense purposes, and they are stored in part of the house that the children never go in. My kids are able to relax and are more healing because of the safety and nurturing environment Ezra has been providing us. I don't know. I think, the woman was probably high at the time she said that crazy stuff. She says the firearms are for self-defense, which is fine, but she says they're stored in part of the house that the children never go in. Yeah, okay, but they could go in. I mean, they're children. Children go where they're told not to. That's the whole thing. That's one of the big parts of being a kid. And then the Rolling Stone said one of the 1-year-olds was, had a bullet in her mouth. So obviously, okay, so they don't go near the guns, but they go near the ammo, which, I mean, I find it very hard to believe that those wouldn't be put together. But, I mean, that's just as dangerous. I mean, what happens if the 1-year-old swallows a bullet or something? That could be really serious. So Ezra Miller has provided a lodging farm for the family and her child, who are aged 1 to 5. Yeah, see, a 5-year-old. I don't know about you guys, but when I was 5, I was probably going into places that were I was told not to be. You get curious at that age. So, hey, honey, don't go into that room. There's a bunch of unattended guns. Well, if I was 5... who knows, maybe I would go in there. Ezra Miller first met the family previous month while in Hawaii. Oh my gosh, this guy he needs to never visit Hawaii again. It makes me consider not going to Hawaii. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. It's one of those dream destinations, of course, but I mean, how Ezra Miller goes to Hawaii and his entire career and, professional life goes down the drain. He's assaulting people in Hawaii, and he's got this new family to come back with him and live in this Vermont farm. I mean, I don't know. Hawaii sounds like a crazy place, and I guess I'll have to reconsider if I ever actually want to go there. Following Ezra Miller's return to the mainland, a temporary order of protection was made against Miller on behalf of activist Tokunawa Iron Eyes after the 18-year-old's parents told a court Miller had held sway over the children through violence, intimidation, threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusion, and drugs, which sounds right on par with Ezra Miller. And I think the biggest bad thing about, the worst part about this situation is the new Flash movies coming out, which I know for some people might not seem like a big thing, but it cost, I don't know, Warner Brothers? I don't know who's working on the DC, but it cost the parent company like $100 million to make this movie, so they're really stuck between a rock and a hard place. And a lot of people, put their probably heart into this film. I'm not saying it's a good film or a bad film. I haven't seen it yet, but they're probably going to have to reshoot some of these scenes with Ezra Miller, because I can't see them going ahead with this movie with the Flash still in the scene, so who knows? Maybe they'll reshoot all these movie scenes and it'll come out naturally like a year or two instead of like this year or next year. I don't know when the release date was, but I can't see anyone going into that movie with a positive view of DC if they keep Ezra Miller in. I mean, especially after all these allegations, which is super unfortunate. You know, they said that this will be the last thing they work on with Ezra Miller 100%, but now that all these new allegations keep coming out, and Ezra Miller is, posting memes apparently on Instagram to taunt the authorities, I mean, I can't see the movie going over well or even making a profit if they don't do something about this guy. We need to stand our ground, I suppose, and, as much as it sucks, it'll probably cost a couple of $1 million to reshoot all the Ezra Miller scenes because it was literally the Flash movie. So they're going to have to do something about it. But I wonder if DC will actually release this kind of movie. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.